Good evening, and thank you for coming. I'm Sandy McHugh, the Greene County representative to the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area, which includes Montgomery and Greene County. Tonight, I'd like to thank the Abiding Christ Lutheran Church for inviting us to use their facility for this forum. The Dayton League was founded in May 1920, over 101 years ago, and just months after the formation of the national organization and the passage of the 19th Amendment granting women the right to vote. If you don't know that story, it's sort of interesting. There was a young representative down in Tennessee who had intended to vote nay, and he had a red rose in his lapel signifying he intended to vote nay. But that day, he had a letter in his pocket from his mother. And at the last minute, he changed his mind and voted yay. And so women had the right to vote. Now, today our membership includes both men and women, young and old. So think about it and join us. The League of Women Voters is not a nonpartisan political organization. It encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and attempts to influence public policy through education and advocacy. The League does not support or oppose any political party or any candidate. A couple of the candidates who are here tonight can confirm that this time of the year, the League just won't let them have any peace. We ask questions and televise their answers. We have them write paragraphs for the voter's guide, and then we ask them to stand before you and answer more questions. Before we start with the candidates, I'll point out that there will be two county-wide issues. The first one is a county 0.25% permissive sale tax for a new detention center, so that would bring our sales tax to 7%. And then there's a Greene County 0.025 mil for bridges. Fairborn City will have a 4.4 mils renewal for fire EMS and a 4.4 mils renewal for police. How many of you have ever run for public office? It isn't fun, is it? So before we start tonight, let's show our appreciation to these candidates for their willingness to take a turn at public office and for taking the time to appear here tonight. So based on a draw, the order tonight will be the candidates for Fairborn City Council, followed by candidates for the Fairborn School Board, and then candidates for Bath Township trustees. Chris Korber, the executive director of our local lead, will ask the questions. So let's set the mood. The voter says to the politician, "I wouldn't vote for you if you were St. Peter himself." And the politician responded, "If I were St. Peter himself, you wouldn't be in my district." So, would the candidates for Fairborn City Council, Adam Fritchie, Jerry Guess, Rodney McCubbins, Daniel Palmer, and Mary Reister, please have a seat here in front of us. And now I'm going to turn it over to Chris, and she will give you the questions.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. As Sandy mentioned, I'm Christine Korba. I'm the Executive Director of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area, and I'd like to thank all of the candidates that are here with us tonight. I am pleased to introduce the 5 candidates running for Fairborn City Council. There are 3 seats. The candidates are Daniel Palmer, Adam Fritchie, Jerry Guess, Rodney McCubbins, and Mary Reister. Mr. Palmer regrets that he could not be here because of a prior commitment. We're going to start our interviews by giving each of the candidates 2 minutes to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve in the position of Fairborn City Council. I will be doing these or asking these questions in a round robin style so that no one is going to have to be first all the time. So I will start with Mary Reister. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Jerry Sutton, a member of the League of Women Voters, is going to be our timer as well. So he will give you a heads up when you're getting close to your time.
I'm good.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Reister, and I am running for Fairborn City Council. I was born and raised here in Fairborn. I graduated from Fairborn High School, class of 1996, Go Hawks. I had a short stint in Florida from 1999 until the fall of 2007 when I returned home to Fairborn to raise my kids. My oldest graduated from Fairborn High School, and my youngest is currently a sophomore. I own a home here, and I am deeply invested in the success of our community. I am finishing up my 4th year of my term on the Fairborn City School Board, and I'm very proud of the things that we have accomplished before my tenure and during my tenure. We've completed a brand new primary. We are in the middle and very close to finishing up our intermediate, and we have begun moving dirt for a brand new high school, all of which are the pride of this community. I am active in the Fairborn Lions Club and have been for many years. I am also very proud of the service that the Lions provides this community. I am also a proud Rotarian that also contributes greatly to our community. I serve on the board for Operation Fairborn Cares, which provides support and resources to veterans post 9/11. And through this organization, I've been presented the opportunity to watch veterans successfully complete the, Veterans Court and provide a hand up in the time of need. I also proudly serve on a World Affair, which celebrates and showcases the diversity of the Miami Valley. I have watched our community finally take its turn in growth and prosperity. I believe we have great potential, and I am very excited to be a part of the City in Motion and hope to continue to serve you in the community in the capacity of City Council member.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. Mr. McCubbins, will you take 2 minutes and introduce yourself to all of us and tell us why you are interested in serving with Fairborn City Council?
Let me fix the microphone. So I got short guy problems here. Well, good evening. Thanks to everyone for coming out on such a rainy evening. I know it's difficult to get out of your house on a cold, rainy night, but I really appreciate it, as I'm sure all the other candidates do. As she's told you, my name is Rodney McCubbins. I was born in Fairborn, raised in Fairborn. You're Fairborn. Together, we're all Fairborn. After graduating from high school, I spent the next 26 years serving our country in the United States Air Force, where I had the distinct pleasure of receiving world-class education, developing numerous skills and experiences that I will bring to the table as a city council member. As I said, I'm experienced, I'm engaged, and I'm present. My engagement in the community since I retired and returned here in 2012 consists of being on the Neighborhood Betterment Committee, where we specifically looked at the execution of community development block grant money to assist our residents that don't have the money to fix their homes up. And now I serve on the planning board, where I was a member for 3 years, and now I'm the board president. Why I want to serve on city councils, I want to make sure we stay a city in motion and we continue to focus on the things that are important, such as economic development, and continue the growth that we've currently experienced in the last 10 years. Fiscally, I want to make sure that we stay responsible, and part of that you can help with. And recently, we've just published an ARPA survey where you can help us decide as a city where we spend that money. And finally, public safety. We need to keep the focus on public safety. Police, fire, medical, And not just that, we've experienced a pandemic that's very important. It's impacted us greatly. And then least but not least, we've got the issue of the biodigester over in Bath Township that's posing a threat to our city as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you again for coming out tonight. My name is Rodney McCubbins. I'm here to stay in this November. I'd appreciate it if you threw a vote my way.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
McCubbins. Mr. Guest, I'm sorry, we will like to hear a couple of minutes of why you're interested in running for Fairborn City Council.
My name is Jerry Guest, and I'm running for Fairborn City Council, and I would appreciate your vote. And this is a paid political announcement. I'm a Cleveland, Ohio native. That means I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. I used to be a Cleveland Indians Chief Wahoo fan, but they changed that name to the Guardians, so go Cincinnati Reds, right? When I graduated from college, I also got a commission in the U.S. Air Force, spent 24 years in the Air Force, traveling all around the world with my wife and my daughter, having a good time. When I retired from the Air Force, I went to work for a public relations firm in San Antonio, Texas, doing environmental public relations work for the Army Corps of Engineers and the Air Force Base Conversion Agency. Then I got tired of traveling, so I went to be the first public relations director for a continuing care retirement community, a CCRC, assisted living, independent living, nursing home, and a dementia facility and Alzheimer's. And we had 480 residents we were responsible for and 300 employees, so that was a fun job. When I retired from that job, I became a runner. I've got 40,000 miles of running. I've also got now 2 artificial knees, as you saw me when I got up from running. And I've been involved in Fairborn and the planning board with Rodney, with the council that reviews the economic budget for the city of Fairborn. This is just like Toastmasters, red light, blue light, green light. And I would appreciate your vote to run for city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guest. Now, Adam Frischie. Could you please give us a little background about yourself and why you're interested in running for Fairborn City Council?
Good evening. Firstly, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for organizing this event and for all of you attending tonight. My name is Adam Frischie, and I'm running for Fairborn City Council. Some of you know me, but for those of you that don't, I'll share a little bit about myself. After serving in the United States Marine Corps as an aviation electronic technician, I accepted a job here at Wright-Patt as a contractor on base for the Precision Measurement and Electronic Laboratory, also known as PMEL. And then later, about 8 years later, I took a federal position within the Air Force at the Air Force Institute of Technology in the Electrical Engineering Department. My wife, Courtney, and I have been married for 18 years. We have 2 children, our son, Hunter, who is currently a sophomore at Sinclair, and our daughter, Kira, a sophomore at Fairborn High School. While we built our house in Fairborn, for which we consider ourselves blessed, it is the community and friends we have made along the way that have helped us call Fairborn our home. As I've watched Fairborn grow, my pride as a resident has also grown, and I've wanted to do more and get more involved within our city. And that is why I decided to run for city council. Thank you.
All right, we're going to start getting into the meat of this forum. Mr. McCubbins, could you please answer our first question? Mr. McCubbins, what do you think are the top 2 issues facing Fairborn, and how would you propose to address each one?
Well, I would say the top 2 issues right now are we still need to continue to focus on economic development. We're on a roll, and we can't stop. We just got to keep going with this role and put a lot of trust in our economic development department. We also have a unique opportunity right now that the federal government's given us with this ARPA money in investing in our city and our future. And I'd like to see that go to our infrastructure, probably more than anything. That's what's falling apart that needs the most help, is our infrastructure. So that's where I would focus my two efforts on, would be economic development and infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. McCubbins. Mr. Guess, the same question. What do you think are the top two issues facing Fairborn, and how would you propose to address each?
Number one is the biodigester, that nasty word, biodigester. And the reason I bring that up is because the odor is the big issue. But people don't realize there are biodigesters all over the country that don't produce odors. There's ways to mitigate the odor coming from that particular biodigester. And I think if we get our legal folks and we get our council members and representatives involved, we can maybe get them to modify their processing plans. Otherwise, it's going to be Bath Township, it'll be Pooh Township, it'll be Fairborn Pooh. So we gotta work on that one. The second one is communications. We need to do a better job of communications. They do a lot with Facebook, but there's more than Facebook. There's public meetings with people face-to-face talking about issues and conversations back and forth on how we can work problems and resolve problems. And that, I think, is the key to what Fairborn needs to do. And I've got 1 minute left, and I'm done. Thank you.
And Ms. Reister, the same question to you. What do you think are the top two issues facing Fairborn, and how would you propose to address each?
Well, as I had stated, economic development, watching us fall behind and stay behind all of the communities around us for many years has been disappointing. So I think that needs to be a continued focus. And part of that is bringing up our average income in our community. Our average income helps dictate what businesses want to come here because of the expendable income. And I think if we can continue to grow and develop those attributes of our community, it would greatly benefit us.
Thank you. Mr. Guess. Second question? Yep. I'm going round robin. But, excuse me?
Forgot Adam.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is, forgive me. Sorry. Well, see, everyone's looking out for you, though. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well,
Look at
I'm gonna
that.
sound
Team
like
spirit. Okay, Mr. Fritchie.
I'm going to sound like a broken record anyway. So,
What do you think are the top two issues facing Fairborn, and how would you propose to address each?
so just like a lot of the other ones, economic development is a big one. Bringing businesses to Fairborn that can provide living wages and to continue revitalizing small businesses back into downtown I think, is key to long-term success in Fairborn. However, there are many challenges that these efforts face. For instance, many small businesses met 2020, and it was devastating, forcing them to close their doors for good. And in case you forgot, we're still in a pandemic. So starting new small businesses makes that proposition even riskier. And I would argue the bigger issue currently is the biodigester, or that smell that you might have noticed out and about our town, which is a great concern. The negative impacts can overshadow all progress that Fairborn has made. And the unfortunate truth is, no matter how many great things Fairborn has done, that stink is what people will remember and talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fritchie. All right, Mr. Guess. What direction should the city take in terms of economic development?
I think they're on the right path, but I think there's one thing they could possibly do that maybe they haven't thought about. Trying to get groups of citizens together to come up with like a tiger team, like the Air Force term used to be, and put together ideas of ways to reach out to companies that may want to move to Fairborn, and have these citizens go to these companies and say, this is what our community has to offer you in the way of labor, in the way of resources to help your business grow, and do a lot of the things that Mike does, only take a different approach with citizens going out searching companies to come here.
Thank you, Mr. Guest. And to get myself back on track again, forgive me, Mr. Fritchie, same question, please. What direction should the city take in terms of economic development?
Well, I think economic growth in Fairborn has done very well in the last few years. And we shouldn't let up. Fairborn has quite a bit of unique opportunity. We've still got some room to grow. We've got 2 exits in Fairborn that still have pretty undeveloped land. And programs like Spark Downtown have been pretty successful. These incubator type things help kind of bring small business as well. And yeah, that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fritchie. Ms. Reister, the same question. What direction should the city take in terms of economic development?
Well, as stated earlier, I think a big part of that is the expendable income that our citizens have. But beyond that, we need to support the existing businesses that are in town so that we can show new businesses, we can support them, and they can thrive here.
Mr. McCubbins, same question. What direction should the city take in terms of economic development?
Well, I'll tell you, I was a business major in school, so I don't really know a lot about economic development. So I would lean heavily on Rob Anderson and Mike Gephardt to guide me in that direction. But I will tell you, we've caught a bad rap here in Fairborn over the last 10, 20 years over not pursuing, or what the lack of perception of pursuing, to getting all these businesses in. Well, guess what? We have the last 2 undeveloped exits on I-675. There's nowhere else for them to go. They got to come to Fairborn now. So tell your people, bring them on. Again, I think this is a good opportunity to capitalize on that infrastructure money that's coming in, so we can do some of these things to a lot of these areas in the city to get them shovel ready to bring these companies in. That's one of the biggest costs for them. So if we can give them some sort of incentive to get them in here, I think that's going to play a big part, and Mike will probably appreciate that we did it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCubbins. Okay, this is our last question. Mr. Fritchie, what could the city do to improve the quality of life of its residents?
So I think this opportunity with the ARPA funds that Fairborn's receiving, which if you didn't know, it's approximately $6.8 million. And a lot of that allows for expenditures for infrastructure, and I think quality of life improvements within the city of Fairborn would be upgrading our parks and the creation of new parks, which are actually something that they're currently looking at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fritchie. Ms. Reister, same question. What could the city do to improve the quality of life for its residents?
I think we have great parks. Do I think that we could probably improve upon some of them? Absolutely. I also think that bringing more businesses, small businesses downtown, giving us a place to go on Friday and Saturday nights and socialize and spend time with our friends and our neighbors, and making this more of a community and less of a commuter community where we live here, but we go spend our money in Beaver Creek and Dayton and Yellow Springs. I think that's very important to our success.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. Mr. McCubbins, same question. What could the city do to improve the quality of life for its residents?
Well, I'll tell you, I was very surprised and happy as a lamb when the U.S. Census statistics came out and showed that we were the only city in Greene County that experienced the largest growth. Folks, we're doing something right now. So first and foremost, we got to keep pushing with whatever it is that we're doing, because we're doing it right. We can't let up the gas on that. I think we've all spoken to it already, but continuing to push on this economic development will do nothing but make the lives better for the people that live and work here. The more expendable money they have to get out there in the community, the better it is, right? We're already seeing that. People are coming to Fairborn, so we just got to keep doing what we're doing and keep bringing them in.
Thank you, Mr. McCubbins. And Mr. Guess, same question. What could the city do to improve the quality of life of its residents?
Right now, the city has an ideal opportunity. They've got $6.1 million of change from the American Rescue Plan, right? That money is to be spent on people that have a need because of the pandemic. It's to be spent on small businesses to help them grow and increase their revenue. All that money should go there to do that, not to do infrastructure, not to do buildings, but help people, help the citizens of Fairborn recover from the COVID-19 issue.
Mr. Guess, you can just stand right there for a minute. I'm going to ask you for your closing statements. We're done. So you have a moment or two to provide us with an overview of what
I tell you what, you could vote for any of these three people up here, plus our missing man as well, and have a good representative on the city council. The thing that you have to do is choose. We all have different backgrounds, and we bring unique, different things that we have done in the past that can complement the city council. So you have to look at that and say, what can that person bring in his toolkit to help the city of Fairborn grow and prosper and meet the citizens' needs?
Thank you, Mr. Guess. Mr. McCubbins, we'd like to provide you with a few moments for a closing statement.
Okay, I got to admit, I didn't prepare a closing statement. So I'm not going to pull any paper out here or anything. I tell you, I was born and raised here, and I absolutely love this city. That is one of the biggest reasons why, after spending 26 years away, I retired and came right back here. And I get often asked a gazillion times at work, when I'm out in the community, why in the world did you come back to Fairborn? To me, it's obvious. They obviously don't see, so I always invite them down to come and see our city. We have one of the last main streets in USA. You get on Google and you Google Fairborn, we're the only place you find. We're unique. I think the uniqueness of Fairborn, my love for the city, is why I came back here. And again, I'd appreciate your vote so I can, over the next 4 years, contribute to keeping this city in motion and making it a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCubbins. Ms. Reister, a few moments for a closing statement.
I think my resume speaks for itself. I think I've shown my commitment to this community and to its betterment and to the citizens, to my neighbors. And I would like to echo Jerry's sentiments. I think that you have great candidates with great attributes, and you just have to vote your heart. Hopefully it's me.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. And Mr. Fritchie, if you could give us a closing statement.
Moving our family to Fairborn in 2008 was originally a logistical choice for us due to the proximity of Wright Pat. However, Fairborn has become the home that we are proud of, and year after year, I have seen it a continuous stream of improvements and growth. With that said, we are far from done. There is always room for improvement, and we should always strive to be better and to do better. I am a veteran. Leadership is part of who I am. I know that I can bring my experience to the table and continue forward with the amazing momentum that Fairborn has seen, and to continue to grow our opportunities, our community, and the pride in our town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To all of the Fairborn City Council candidates, thank you so much for being here this evening, and good luck with your campaign. Could those candidates who are running for Fairborn City School District please come to the front? Good evening. I am pleased to introduce the candidates running for Fairborn City School Board. There are 3 open seats for the school board and 3 candidates: Wendy Landon, Katie Malone, and Tim Steininger. Ms. Malone regrets that she could not be here because of a prior commitment. We will start our interviews by giving the candidates 2 minutes to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve. Ms. Landon, can you start, please?
Let me take this off here so I can. So, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Wendy Landon. I was born in Dayton, raised here in Fairborn. I'm a 1992 graduate of Fairborn High School and Greene County Career Center. I took computer information systems there at the Career Center, and it was a great experience, and I always promote the Career Center. Sorry, I'm not a great public speaker, so just forgive me. I am going to run for school board this year. I decided, I started getting into volunteering about 10 years ago. I started off with volunteering a lot for the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts and Troop 72, PAC 182, and 141. I kind of started into fundraising. So I think I did about, I think I got them up to about $10,000 when these kids had no money, and it kind of helped the parents and helped the children be involved because a lot of people weren't able to pay for those types of things. So I kind of started getting, joined in, or started volunteering at those activities, and then I got married, and then my oldest stepson, he actually was in band, went to a band meeting, and things just started to go around and around, and the next thing I know, I'm Fairborn Music Club president. So that's how that rolled, which was great experience for me. This year, I stepped down a little bit, and I became vice president of the music club. But just a few reasons I want to serve, or I think it's a great opportunity to serve on the school board is, I want to share my time and talents of the things that I've done over the last 10 years. I think I can bring that to the school board as well. I'm a fair person, so I think that I'm going to be able to do a great job for our students.
Thank you, Ms. Landon.
Thank you.
Mr. Steininger, again, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you're interested in running for Fairborn School Board.
Thank you. First off, a piece of trivia. I've just learned that Katie Malone is the current president of the marching band group. She's a past president, and I'm a past president of the marching band program. Be that as it may. For those of you who don't know me, some other students at school know me as Mr. S, because I can't pronunciate Mr. Steininger. So I work at the primary school part-time. I work in the afternoons as a computer instructor. So that's my current role there. I've been in the district since 1986. Both my daughters have graduated from Fairborn High School. My wife is a retired special education teacher from Fairborn Schools and worked in many of the different buildings. One of the things I've always focused on is what's my legacy going to be after I'm elected? What do I want to see as my future here? And I want to look to the future a little bit. And I want to see that Fairborn City Schools is known as one of the best districts in this area. Really. I think we kind of have a bad rap right now. Not horrible, you know, because for lots of different reasons. I think we've done a super job. I really thank the current school board for the jobs they've done, because look, we have 2 brand new buildings going in. We'll have a 3rd shortly. That's fantastic in this community. And those will make us a better place to be. So I have a lot of experience. For some of you know, I've been on city council and other things. I'm also the president of the Fairborn Lions Club, if you're interested in joining us someday. But really, I'd like to see your support and help us build this district to be one of the best there is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Steininger. Mr. Steininger, you can stay because we're going to do these questions round robin, every other one.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask each of you the same question. You'll each have 2 minutes to respond. The first question, Mr. Steininger, is what do you see as the most important issues facing the Fairborn School District?
Currently, there's 2 real significant issues. First one is we have very lack of school bus drivers. And right now, it's a very big issue going on of how do we get our students to and from school, especially to special events. Secondly, the big challenge that's facing us is building supplies. Our buildings are being delayed right now, and maybe in the future because of both increased lack of supply, and also that'll drive increased costs, which means we may not have as some features may have to be cut back a little bit, and I don't like that idea. So there's some real immediate challenges that we have. The other one, I think, is to keep up the momentum. Again, I'm faced with a challenge. We have a great school board who's doing a good job. I want to make sure we keep that going. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Landon, the same question. What do you see as the most important issues facing the Fairborn School District?
I'm going to guess the same, or I'm going to say the same thing, kind of transportation right now, because I see that all over, the internet. I keep seeing everybody's comments on Fairborn Communicates, and I think that transportation is a huge issue for our parents. I mean, especially because there's some people that are back to work. I mean, I'm one of those parents that are back to work, so I'm sure that's a difficult situation for a lot of parents right now. I think another thing I would have to say is, which I wasn't prepared for this, so to answer questions, so I apologize. I would have to venture to say that, lack of, and people can disagree with me too, some, activities for our kids after school as far as like daycares and things of that nature, because I see that on, on our public media as well, is that, we don't have a lot of options for parents too. So I find that that's something that we could address as a, as a community and as a school.
Thank you, Ms. Landon. Mr. Steininger, you're back up again. When there's only 2 of you, you're up and down very frequently, so.
Getting my exercise.
Yep.
Let's go.
The second question, and again, you'll have 2 minutes to answer. How has the role of school board member evolved in the face of current societal changes?
That's a loaded question. It has changed. And I think it's come from being, I would call it, very locally focused. In other words, what's the issues dealing with my kids today in my school district? To having outside influences come in and try to say to the school board, this is what we think you need to be doing. And by whichever side you're on, right, left, center, I don't care. It's that pressure to say, look, I want to stay focused locally. That's me. And everything will drive me. This is a local problem, and we will face it here locally. I'm going to try my best to avoid the noise of what's going on around me when it comes to national or international issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Landon, same question. How has the role of school board member evolved in the face of current societal changes?
Well, it's definitely different because there are so many issues that are thrown at the school board members, the current school board members, and so many opinions that do come in, and you're trying to please everybody, but at the end of the day, it's all about our kids and what's going to be best for these kids and our school system and our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, just hang out for a second. You're
I'll
up
stand up there.
first.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then this is our last question before
Okay.
we have our closing statements. A recent article in the newspaper pointed out that school board meetings were once orderly and even boring, but now have turned ugly. School board elections that were once uncontested have drawn slates of candidates galvanized by one issue or another. Is there anything that's specific that made you decide to run for Fairborn School Board?
I don't think there was really one thing in particular. Again, I think, my point and why I'm doing this is because I want to, have a better place for our kids and a better community and better schools. And I want to be part of that and help them to make those decisions. This is not about me. This is about our kids. So there's not one in particular thing. I think everything is going to be important and we will have to address them, but nothing, nothing that just jumps out at me. I think everything needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Landon. Mr. Steininger, is there anything specific that made you decide to run for Fairborn School Board?
Yes, there is. When I first moved to the community, I got involved in several different activities. One of them was the planning board and the Parks and Recreation board. And at that time, I said, you know what? I know a lot about schools. My background's in education. And I actually pulled petitions to run for city, for the school board back, I believe, in the early 90s. And chose for reasons I don't know to not do that. But now it's time. I want to provide the skills that I have and the knowledge I have to make us the best district. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steininger, we'd like to provide you with a minute for a closing statement.
I'll keep it real short. Folks, we have an opportunity to maintain our school districts, make them better, and I'd like to be a part of that. Thank you. Vote Tim Steininger.
Thank you, Mr. Steininger. And Ms. Landon, a minute with a closing statement, please.
Yeah, kind of, echoing what you said. I mean, in reality, I want to help and help the community and the school system and, bring some of my, my time and my talents to be able to do so. Create some stronger ties between, our school, between our schools and between our school board, and work with the superintendent. So, I believe that, our students, they deserve so much, and I look forward to, working with our current and our newly, elected school board members to help provide our students with quality education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Landon. Thank you both for being here this evening, and the best of luck with your campaigns. I'd now like to ask that the 4 candidates running for the Bath Township trustee position come up front. There are 4 candidates running for 2 seats. Michelle Clements, Rob Huffman, Tom Pitstick, and Steve Ross. Welcome. Again, we will start our interviews by giving you all 2 minutes to tell us about yourselves and why you would like to serve in the position of Bath Township trustee. Ms. Clements, could you start, please?
Good evening. My name is Michelle Clements, and I'm a candidate for Bath Township trustee. First and foremost, thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this candidate night. It's a great opportunity for the residents to see those who have been serving and those who want to serve their communities. Service to others has been a common theme throughout my entire life. As a firefighter EMT, a certified fire and explosives investigator, to an emergency management agency director, amongst many other titles, I have developed the skills and attributes I believe are important for trustees to hold. I am a proven leader, a good listener, and an excellent planner. As a part owner of a Century Farm in Bath Township, and having 3 small boys starting out in our school system, my husband and I have a vested interest in our community, the well-being and safety of our township and surrounding communities. When elected as your next trustee, my goal is to create a strategic plan for the township that will ensure a pathway for growth and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hoffman, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and to tell us why you would like to serve in the position of Bath Township trustee.
All right, thank you. Good evening. I want to start off also by thanking the League of Women Voters and the Abiding Christ Lutheran Church for hosting tonight's event. And thank you all for coming on this rainy night. I'm Rob Hoffman, and I'm running for Bath Township trustee. I'm here tonight to ask for your support and your vote. If you live in Fairborn or Bath Township, your vote counts. You get to vote for Bath Township trustee. I ask that you remember that when you vote. I'm a proud U.S. Air Force veteran and served as a member of the 88th Security Forces Squadron here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and was deployed twice to the Middle East in support of Operation Southern Watch. Back in 1998, I married Christy Clifton, daughter of Steve and Jane Clifton. Together we have 2 sons, Matthew and Ryan. This past July, our family grew by 1 as we welcomed our very first grandchild, Miles, into the world. If you want to see pictures, I'll be glad to show them afterwards. I am finishing up my 8th year on City Council and currently serving as Fairborn's deputy mayor and a board member of the Fairborn Development Corporation. Prior to being elected to the City Council, I served 8 years on the Planning Board. 2 years I was the president of the Planning Board. I also got to experience serving on the Citizens Capital Improvement Committee and the Regional Planning and Coordinating Commission of Greene County. Professionally, I'm a senior sales vice president with a local real estate brokerage. I've been successfully negotiating real estate transactions for the past 20 years, and if elected, I will put those 20 years of negotiating experience to work for Bath Township on day 1. The art of negotiation is a skill that I've acquired thanks to the 20 years of helping buyers and sellers throughout our community. I will fight for the citizens of Bath Township with the same vigor that I fight for my real estate clients. I will use also the relationships that I've made with the other local and state leaders over the past 27 years to protect and advance the interests of Bath Township. In closing, please remember that the citizens of Fairborn and Bath Township have a say in who will represent them as their trustee. Both get a vote. It's not about us versus them, Fairborn against Bath Township. It's about working together to get what's best for our community. Thank you.
Mr. Pitstick, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve in the position of Bath Township trustee?
Good evening. A sincere thank you to the League of Women Voters for holding this forum. I would like to introduce my wife of 50 years, wife and partner, Lynn Pitstick. We have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. I'm a farmer. We raise corn, soybeans, wheat, hay, hogs, cattle, with the help of 6 family members. 2 adult children, their spouses, and 2 grandsons. Our farm's been in the family for over 100 years, and hopefully for many more, as we have placed a conservation easement on our land. This easement will preserve our land as farmland forever. I have a degree in agricultural production from Michigan State University, Institute of Agricultural Technology. I'm also certified as a crop advisor with the American Society of Agronomy. My past leadership activities include 4-H advisor for 10 years, Greene County Extension Advisory Committee, Greene County Agronomy Committee, Greene County Farm Bureau President, County Farmland Preservation Task Force, Ohio Pork Producers Council President, the National Pork Producers Council board member, also U.S. Meat Export Federation Executive Committee. I currently serve as a Bath Township trustee and chairman of the Greene County Regional Planning and Coordinating Committee. I'm a member of Mary Help of Christians Catholic Church, an active member of the Fairborn Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also a third-degree Knight of Columbus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pitstick. Mr. Ross, you have 2 minutes to tell us about yourself and why you want to serve in the position.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to the League. Thank you to Abiding Christ for having us here. It's great. My name's Steve Ross. I'm currently a Bath Township trustee, one of the 2 incumbents that are in this race. How'd I get to Fairborn, Bath Township anyway? Well, we moved our business from downtown Dayton to Fairborn in 1985. Mary and I followed. We bought our home in Rona Hills in 1986. We lived there for 13 years. Then in 1999, we built our home outside the city limits in the township, not far off West Enon Road. So we've been in the Fairborn Bath Township area for almost 35 years. We raised our family here. This is home. I earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from The Ohio State University way back in 1974. So yes, I'm still hopeful we are going to play some football this year. OH. Business is my background. Spent my entire career in the optical business, prescription eyeglass laboratories. Started at Reese Optical in Mansfield, Ohio in the summer when I was not yet 16 years old. That eventually turned into business ownership. Now the former owner of Midwest Optical and Optigroup. As a business owner, one becomes quite knowledgeable in human resources management, sales and marketing, negotiations, contracts, in my case, mergers and acquisitions, et cetera, all the things one must do if you're going to be successful in business. So these are the skills that I bring to Bath Township and have for 18 years. A few more minutes, a few more seconds. I'm a Fairborn Rotary member. I belong to our church, Rona Community Church, past president of Fairborn Chamber of Commerce, past president of Skyhawk Athletic Club. The Boosters organization raised a lot of money for athletes in the past. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Mr. Hoffman, we're going to start our questions with you. You'll have 2 minutes to respond. What do you think are the top 2 issues facing the township, and how would you propose to address each?
Thank you for that question. Easy answer. Biodigester, number 1. I'm not going to make it personal, but it stinks. It's disgusting, and it's now affecting the city of Fairborn, and that's why I chose to run, because, no offense, but those 2 folks are on the board. It happened during their watch, so they need to be held accountable. What I will do, if I get on there, I'm going to fight like, I won't say the word because I'm in a sanctuary, to fight it, whatever we can do. Get the city of Fairborn, they have a great plan that they're devising to help combat expansion. Expansion is our number 1 problem right now, odor mitigation, emergency management plan. Our fire department, the Fairborn Fire Department, I believe takes over that zone. In January of 2022, they have no idea what's out there. There's a blasting site across the street. We're in Tornado Alley, and they have no idea what's in those lagoons. So first and foremost, no expansion. Emergency management plan, the actual folks that are creating the damage on her road, repairing it, not the taxpayers, and odor mitigation. Number 1. Number 2, high turnover rate. I believe they have about 17 employees and 4 elected officials. There has been a huge turnover in the employees. I don't know what's going on, but when I get in there, I'm going to find out what's going on, and we're going to take care of business. Maybe talking to the people that leave and making some changes. They recently voted an increase of pay. I think that helps, but we need to make sure, we need to do a study and make sure that we're on par with the rest of those type jobs in the area, that we're paying what everyone else is paying so we don't lose the people. Those are the 2 challenges I think that face the township.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Pitstick, the same question. What do you think are the top 2 issues facing the township, and how would you propose to address each?
Well, the biodigester's been brought up numerous times, and I do own the land that the biodigester sits on, but I lease it to the company, and I don't have any ownership, management, or anything of it. There are some things that have been proposed. The company is willing to there's things they're willing to do, but that because it's on my land, I have to recuse myself from a lot of the votes to do with it. And so I've been kind of stymied in how I can influence things. And the other two trustees have chosen not to follow through with what Renergy has proposed, which I think would help. But the other thing is we've got $800,000 in stimulus money that we're working on to the best way to invest that money in the township. And we've got several projects in mind that I think we'll probably go forward with, but we've asked for input from the residents, and we're still willing to listen to any ideas that residents may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pitstick. Mr. Ross, what do you think are the two top issues facing the township, and how would you propose to address each?
Thank you for the question. Top two issues are ARP money, but we've addressed that. We're in the process of addressing that. What everybody wants to hear about is the biodigester, so that's what I'm going to focus on. Everyone knows we are in appeal on the court's ruling concerning the biodigester, owned by Dovetail Renergy, not Tom. If that appeal is not successful, the effort must be to ensure that Dovetail Renergy becomes a good neighbor. And everyone knows the issues, odor mitigation being one of them. So what are we going to do? Well, while we're waiting on this appeal, tonight I propose a coalition between the trustees and the citizens of Fairborn Bath Township to address the issues together. To begin, I propose that we invite 3 citizens into the inner sanctum. When biodigestion is the topic, my proposal would mean we invite 3 citizens, one of whom should be Sarah Fulton. I talked to her today, she's more than willing. Invite these 3 people into our executive sessions, attorneys present. We must be totally open, work together. We can assign each other individual tasks. Township trustees would retain attorneys, perhaps hire a new attorney, meet with other citizens and elected officials, meet with the Ohio EPA, you name it, to collectively work together toward the solutions. We must once again begin to build trust in the trustees and work the process together as a community. The job is not done, and I'm committed to getting it done. Why do I want to be a trustee? This is my calling. Those familiar with the Bible and the book of Esther will recall one of the central verses which says, paraphrased, "And who knows but that you have come to your positions for such a time as this?" I would suggest such a time as now.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman, or Mr. Ross, I'm sorry. Finally, Ms. Clemens, what do you think are the top 2 issues facing the township, and how would you propose to address each?
Thank you. Clearly, you've heard about the biodigester. The question is, why now? It's been here. Why are we just now proposing a coalition? While it's a great start, and I agree that there should be camaraderie between the citizens and the trustees to rebuild that trust, there is no trust at this time. We've heard it from Mr. Guest that biodigesters are all over. They're all over, but people don't smell them. The odor mitigation has to happen. It's a simple solution. Nobody's trying to shut down a business. Nobody's trying to override any authority that people may think that they have. It's simple. Odor mitigation. Paying for the roads that are being destroyed. Her road was never intended for truck traffic. These are all things that have been talked about before. We're lacking the action. We need the action behind the words. The second issue that I personally think the township needs to look into is there is no strategic plan. There is no long-term strategic plan. There is a land use plan. That land use plan is for Greene County. Do the values line up with what Bath Township wants or needs. In fact, Perspective 2040 is a Greene County future land use update that Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission is in the process of working through. Again, do the values of what is in that plan line up with the township? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clemens. Mr. Pitstick. There has been considerable debate in the local press regarding the multi-million-dollar biodigester in the facility at Bath Township. Downwind citizens have raised numerous nuisance, health, and safety concerns. Additionally, there are conflicting positions both as whether its operation is permitted within the township zoning provisions and indeed the very nature of the facility, agricultural, industrial, or public utility. Given this conflict, as a trustee, what path forward toward an equitable solution would you advocate?
You know, I think Steve's idea is a good one. Like I said earlier, I've been limited in what I can do in my input because I do lease the ground to Renogy. There are solutions. You mentioned, someone mentioned an emergency management plan. They have to have that. It's filed with EPA. I live right there. I'm 1,000 feet. My family works around it every day. I won't deny that there is an odor. You know, and there doesn't have to be. It could be covered. It's not the digester itself. It's the storage of the effluent after it goes through the digester that is where the odor is coming from. And if it was covered, that odor would go away or definitely be minimized. I guess that's really about all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pitstick. Mr. Ross, same question. Given all of this, as a trustee, what path forward toward an equitable solution would you advocate?
Well, I kind of laid that out in the last question. I would propose that we invite 3 citizens into the inner sanctum. Pam, I'm also looking at you. And there's another person I have in mind. We need to work together to get this done. There are 3 primary issues with the biodigester. Number 1 is odor mitigation. Number 2 is her road. And number 3 is perhaps the one that most people have the greatest angst about, and that is expansion, new lagoons. Well, as Tom said, you know, the odor's coming from the existing lagoon, which is not covered. If we build more lagoons and they're not covered, we're going to have more odor. We could not come to an agreement, Cassie and I could not come to an agreement with Dovetail Renogy because of that 3rd issue, the expansion issue. We could not get there, and we went round and round trying to work the language to fix it. And we never got to that solution, and Dovetail pulled the rug out from under us. So I think we can get there with her road. I really do think there's an opportunity to fix her road. ASTM, Association of something materials, they make covers for lagoons. They mitigate odors. They've got that stuff available. We just have to get Dovetail Renogy to agree to do that. Citizen, what's the right word? Pressure? With the trustees, not against the trustees. Let's work together and get this done. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Ms. Clemens. What equitable solution would you advocate for?
Thank you. Once again, I think the question to ask is, where is the cover? It's already been proposed. We've asked for a moratorium on any further expansion. The expansion is always on the table as long as the facility is deemed a public utility. it can expand, and the trustees have no control over that. So covering is a start, but gaining trust back with the citizens is going to go much further. Working together and having that relationship with the citizens is the answer in my book, honestly. We have voiced our opinions at multiple trustee meetings to be met with resistance, screaming matches, hands slamming on the table. So I don't have a whole lot of hope for a group hand-picked by current sitting trustees. This has to be a fair and equitable way that we have residents that are interested in being on this committee to move forward. Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman, same question. What path forward toward an equitable solution would you advocate?
All right. I want to take the word equitable out of it because I want us to win. First of all, when you negotiate, it's not a win-win. We got to get more. So I applaud, again, Steve, you coming up with that plan. Again, it's been there since 2013, I believe. I just was curious as to where that plan has been. As Michelle said, it's striking that it's almost election day and now we're hearing about it. But what I would suggest is not necessarily the citizens, or the citizens are great, but how about our 3 Greene County commissioners, our state rep, Brian Lampton, state senator, and Governor DeWine? We need them. We need power. I've been on the city council for 8 years. We have never had a meeting, a joint meeting, with the 3 trustees. I don't know why, but we're all in this together. Now what they've done, what's happened on their watch, excuse me, it's not personal, is affecting us as citizens of Fairborn. So getting to the table is great. Again, we all discussed odor mitigation, repairs to the road, emergency management plan, and I would say expansion is probably the top thing, and I don't care if they don't like it or not. We keep at the table. We get them back to the table. We stand firm. Expansion is not an option. It will destroy the township. It will destroy the community. It will destroy our schools and our reputation. I'm a property rights guy. I sell real estate. But if the government has to get involved, the government has to get involved. The land that sits there on Byron Road is going to destroy us if there's expansion. And I think the time has passed. The actions now are not enough. So I think we need to get Mr. Lampton here. You're here. I don't see any other representatives. But we need your help. Thank you.
Mr. Ross.
Whole new question?
Whole new question.
Whole new question.
Whole new question. What makes you uniquely qualified for the trustee position?
Knowledge and excellence. Some time ago, I proposed a perpetual care fund for Byron Cemetery. That fund has been in place now for over 15 years and will provide the funds to mow grass, kill the weeds, maintain structures, long after there are no more sales. The fund currently sits at over $500,000 with maybe 50 years of inventory left to sell. So there's more money coming. The goal is that future taxpayers will not spend a dime on the repair and maintenance of Byron Cemetery ever. Secondly, employees' needs and wants, specifically health care benefits. They are essential to building and maintaining a good workforce. Bath Township has excellent health care benefits for our employees that are still affordable, and I personally spent a lot of time to make sure that was and is the case. Number 3, my work is the primary reason we have an exceptional fire EMS contract with the city of Fairborn. It took almost 3 years to get us to this place, but it was worth it. Fairborn and Bath Township are both winners with our current contract. Finally, I would make an educated guess that I've managed more people over the years than all the other candidates combined. I've worked on and been engaged in more business legal issues than my opponents. I've personally negotiated more contracts than the other, with the possible exception of Tom Pitstick. I know more staff, more personnel, more elected officials in Greene and Montgomery counties, and have more working relationships with those same people than my opponents. People know what I have done and can do going forward. knowledge, and excellence. If you vote for me, you'll be making an optimal choice. Thank you.
Ms. Clements, same question. What makes you uniquely qualified for the trustee position?
Thank you. This isn't about who knows who can negotiate a better contract, who can do things better. It's about actions, and actions speak louder than words. My job is to bring people to the table. I manage chaos. I manage disasters, hundreds of people at a time, protest in the middle of Springfield. I manage that. That is my job. So when it comes to management and bringing diverse people to the table, that's what I do. That's what I have done. Again, public service has been in my blood since leaving high school. As a firefighter EMT, we deal with a diverse group of folks. We never know what we're going on. Being able to go through those waters and manage is what I do. It is important that we establish relationships. We bring people to the table. It's about our residents. It's not about me. It's not about the rest of the candidates up here. It's how we want to treat our residents. Our residents need to feel like they are heard, they are valued, and they are respected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clements. Mr. Hoffman, what makes you uniquely qualified for this trustee position?
I'd beg to differ with Mr. Ross. I have 20 years of experience in negotiating transactions involving the most valuable asset most Americans have, their homes. My 8 years on the city council, watch any meeting, you will not see anything real exciting, and that's the nature of the business. We don't want excitement at the council meeting, so I treat everyone fairly, with respect and dignity. My 8 years on the planning board, 2 years of which I was the chairman or president. My time on the Citizens Capital Improvement Committee, where we discussed and allocated or planned for millions upon millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars being spent in the city of Fairborn, and my time on the Regional Planning and Coordinating Commission of Greene County, of which I sat with Mr. Pitstick. That's why I think I'm uniquely qualified. I also want to add on to that. I want to, as the national spokesperson for the president, I want to circle back to the meetings. The meetings are important because that's what people see. And if you watch a meeting, if you want some excitement, you don't have to watch Heber Heights Council meetings or Moraine Council meetings anymore, or Fairborn. Watch the trustee meetings. That's what I want to get away from. Go back to a little dignity and respect and work for the people, the many, not the few. Thank you.
Mr. Pitstick, what makes you uniquely qualified for the trustee position?
I've been a trustee for 20 years, so I know how the township operates. You know, the biodigester has been a thorn in my side the last couple of years. I think there's ways to solve that issue, but I have a lot of experience. I'm a farmer. Agriculture is part of the township. I think it's important to have someone who understands agriculture to be one of the trustees. I'd like to continue doing what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pitstick. In closing, we'd like to provide each candidate with time for a closing comment. Ms. Clements, could you start, please? You have a minute.
Thank you to the candidates and the residents who have invested your time tonight to learn about your local government, school board, and city council. Tonight you have heard from multiple candidates vying for 2 seats for Bath Township trustee. You have the power to choose the candidate that fits your needs, wants, and values. We've heard many ideas, thoughts, and concerns, to which some we may agree, and some we may not. But the greatest thing about the United States is that we're a democracy, and the people get to select who best represents them. Actions speak louder than words. Ask yourself, are the current actions I'm seeing, are they okay with my values? We must focus our efforts on planning, health and safety of our community, fiscal responsibility, and fair, unbiased treatment and representation of our employees and constituents. I look forward to bringing a fresh, new perspective to the table with thoughtful and measured approach to decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clemens. Mr. Hoffman, closing statement. You have a minute.
Thank you. With your vote and support, December 31st, 2021 will be the last day that outside corporations will have any influence or pull when it comes to the Board of Trustees in Bath Township. You have my word that I will continue to fight all future biodigester expansion and do what's best for the community, not what's best for outside interests. I will work to restore the trust and respect that the citizens have for their trustees. Working alongside Trustee Lester, the first thing I'll do as your new trustee, I'll make a motion to change the amount of time that the citizens have during public comments from 3 minutes to 5 minutes during the meetings. I will not be afraid of what the citizens have to say. One of the primary functions of an elected official is to listen to their constituents. 3 minutes is simply not enough time. As I said during my introduction, Fairborn and Bath Township gets a say. When you get to the Bath Township trustee part of your ballot, please vote for Rob Hoffman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Pitstick, can you share a closing statement? You have a minute.
I've enjoyed being a trustee. I haven't enjoyed the last year because I've been the target of a lot of the complaints, and really nothing I have done warrants all of that. Yeah, I do have a lease with Renergy, but it's that company that should be held accountable. Both Steve and I have been very viciously attacked, and I think it's quite honestly unwarranted. But anyway, I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pitstick. Mr. Ross, can you provide us with a closing statement?
Thank you. 2 years ago, when it became apparent that I was not going to be on the 2019 ballot for trustee, I made the announcement at one of our trustee meetings. It was a difficult time because the Board of Elections rejected my petitions on a technicality. After the meeting, several people came forward to shake my hand, say thank you for the work. One such person was Dave Anderson, who's not here tonight. I was hoping he would be. Dave and I have been political opponents for the past 10 years at least, and have butted heads on different issues on numerous occasions. Dave told me that night, and this is not an exact quote, Dave said that no matter what came before Bath Township, it was evident to him that Steve Ross was able to handle it. Nothing was too difficult for me to handle. It was a very nice thank you, a compliment from someone who never seemed to agree with anything I said or did. Thank you once again for those kind words, Dave. It meant a lot. I look forward to continuing to work for the residents of Bath Township. I'm still ready, I'm still willing, still able. The job is not done. Please vote for Steve Ross on or before November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. To all of our candidates this evening, thank you so much for your participation, and again, good luck with your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and to strengthen our elective political process. The annual Voters Guide will be available in your local paper at locations including libraries, schools, and local businesses, and on our website by mid-October. As a reminder, early voting for the upcoming election begins on October 5th. Last day to register to vote is October 4th. And you can vote early at your Board of Elections, or you can request an absentee ballot. However you decide to vote, your opinion matters and helps make our democracy work. Thank you for all being here. And Sandy, do you have some closing statements? No? So thank you very much.